Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of RPG Radio. My name is Winback, and on today's episode we will be playing some Diablo 4, or we were playing some Diablo 4. This is during the server slam with Ashava. This is the Druid build from my most recent video, minus a little bit of the gear, because we're going to get some of the gear in that build from this fight. This video is more or less just to show you that the Druid is very good at taking on Ashava, just as well, I'd say, as the Barbarian in my previous Ashava run. So I don't think things are going to be too difficult for this class, even though a lot of people like to complain about it not doing damage. That being said, there's a couple other things going on. Now, like I mentioned, the build is missing a couple pieces of gear, and because of that, we're relying on a couple different things. Mainly our damage-dealing ranged partners in this whole world boss fight, and the ability to stay alive and, you know, resurrect a couple people, even though playing selfish is probably the smart thing to do. Ultimately, it is much more difficult to die on the Druid than it is some of the other squishy classes that are around, but I definitely feel like the Barbarian still has a much bigger chance of surviving, at least unkilled, than the Druid. In this video, I think we died one time because I got a little bit too much of a hero complex and tried to save somebody out on the very edge of Ashava's cleaving range. But that considered, the Druid does have a lot of defensive options, maybe not mobility wise, but at least enough to get fortified, enough to get barriers up, enough to really save your health bar when things get you know, right down to the brass tacks of it. The unfortunate part of the Druid's mobility is that it is also a big chunk of their damage. Because Trample got buffed so much, it's basically a big nuke that you'll want to use when you have the opportunity to do so. You really don't want to use it to be dodging away from Ashava. If you are about to get caught in a punch or a cleave, you'll want to use Trample to go at Ashava to deal the big damage from Trample, but sometimes it's just easy to freak out and go the wrong direction, and you don't really want to do that. You want to keep your boots on, your spacebar dash, and if you have the double charges from a pair of boots, that's going to help you out even further, because having that mobility on a class that is fairly immobile is big boy brain, you know? It's good stuff. So, all that being said, your main damage source on this build is still mostly pulverize, and you still have to rack up enough health and enough time to make pulverize deal its overpower damage and, you know, contribute to the DPS pool. But you'll also be contributing a lot of vulnerability with your Storm Strike, and you'll be increasing your own crit chance with your Ravens. The Ravens do some pretty decent damage as well, and couple that with the Hurricane that you'll have running basically all the time, your damage is pretty consistent. You might not be the highest on the team, but you always got it going on Ashava, and you'll have some intermittent, really big burst damage to even things out. So we might not be sorcerer or necromancer levels of damage as it is right now, but we do survive quite a bit, and we can at least carry a tankish amount of damage on the world boss while also being nice and distracting while we take on those toesies from the back. Now, other than that, once Ashava drops down so far in health, she will start attacking her feet, because obviously, I mean, if someone was biting on my toes the whole time I was trying to chase them around, I'd be unhappy about it also. But it really is very easy to dodge her backward swipe. All you have to do is A, stand directly underneath her, or you just move to the side. It's a huge wind up on that ability, and things are very telegraphed in this boss fight. The stun bar actually rockets up pretty quick too. I'm not sure where most of the CC uptick is coming from. I'm not sure, you know, I haven't looked at all the other classes in this fight, but I assume that we're contributing a fair amount. That being said, I haven't stunned Ashava a whole lot, so this is one of those fights where it just happened and it was like, what? Who did that? I don't think it was me. Then again, I need to do the research on that anyway. So, as you can see, she's already scraping towards her toes. They're really easy to dodge. We can stand directly between them every time. As long as you know where to stand, you're pretty much good to go. If you don't know where to stand, make sure that you've got your trample good to go, because I don't think your boots, your dash is going to be enough to get you out of danger. Because she does have quite an AoE outside that middle range underneath her. Anyway, the pools of poison are also a really big issue for classes that don't have healing or don't have barrier. You'll also really want poison resistance to help negate those. I'm also using a lot of sapphires. I think 2 sapphires in my armor to reduce damage over time duration. So those are making the poison more negligible that's on the ground, that we typically have to just stand in while we're attacking her feet. That being said, it's pretty easy to gear up for that kind of stuff. You can also use the poison resist gem, which is, I want to say it's the green one, the emerald, but I'm not entirely sure. I think if you it is on emeralds, but you have to put it in jewelry instead of armor, whereas sapphires go in armor and they reduce damage over time. So don't hit me. Oh, barely bootied out of there. Yeah, but you can also see we actually broke one of the limbs off of Ashava. We broke one of her big cleavers, and that means that her AoE on her swipe is a lot smaller. So she has a lot less instance to kill our party hanging out on the edge, which is really nice. And I think that's obviously a mechanic that's going to carry over to every world boss, but this one specifically, it's really easy, and that happened when we knocked down her stun, or knocked her down with that stun. But all that being said, she does get considerably easier with her limbs blown off, even if it's just the one of them. And all things considered, when you're playing a melee character, I don't think she's especially difficult anyway. As long as you've got enough resist for the poison, as long as you know where to stand when she's doing her backward swipe, this is it, huh? This is where we just get blasted. Because it's coming around. I got greedy for the second res. Yep. Bummer. Didn't have enough. It's so unfortunate. And I 99% resed that guy too. I'm so upset. That's fine. That's what I get for trying to be a hero. Anyway, when you do get revived by a friendly, you also get all of your potions back. So, when you get slapped, it's not the worst thing in the world. You can always revive back at the little encampment. That'll also give you all your potions back, but you're you gotta walk all the way back. It's not too far, I don't think. I think it changed in the server slam. It's much closer than it was. But still, you wanna revive people that are in the fight as much as you can, as much as it's safe to do, obviously. But yeah, the closer that they get revived, the more damage that they continue doing. You don't want to waste time that you could be using it to DPS with walking. So there you have it. Really, it was a pretty easy fight. I mean, we took her down with relative ease. Couple damage dealers again running around the outside. It's I don't think it's very hard. Dodging is always fun, but, you know, it's not especially difficult. Anyway, that's it for this video. I will be back next week when the game launches. We'll try to get going on the leveling for my barbarian in the first playthrough of the game. It's going to be a super fun experience, so come see me. Let me know in the comments if you're playing, what you're playing, how you're doing it, and I will catch you all next time.